Here at the FT's Future of Europe Summit in London, Brexit is the big issue. I'm here with Juergen Maier, the Chief Executive of Siemens in the UK, and John Mills, Chairman and Founder of JML and Deputy Chairman of the Leave campaign. You've both been taking part in a session about the implications to the UK of a vote to leave the EU in the referendum in June. Can I start with you, John? Do you think that voters are getting the information that they need before that referendum?
I think they're getting a cloud of assertions, some of which are well-founded, some of which aren't, and I think there is a lot of confusion around. In the end, I think most voters are going to vote on how they feel. I think it's almost an emotional decision that they'll take. I think it's largely going to be about control and cost, and a lot of these other really big issues are going to be difficult for a lot of people to get their heads around.
Juergen, do you think people are getting what they need?
What seems to be missing from the debate is just more facts, or at least opinions which are underpinned with facts. So, let me give you an example. I hear a lot of the people who are on the Leave campaign side saying, it will be really easy to get a trade agreement if we Brexit. But the facts are that nobody in the world has managed to do a reasonably sized trade agreement in anywhere near 2 years. So to me, that means there will be a huge amount of uncertainty, which is always bad for business.
I mean, one of the arguments that the Leave campaign makes is precisely that the UK will be in a better position to negotiate its own free trade deals, both with Europe and with the rest of the world. Why do you believe that's the case?
Well, I think it cuts both ways. I think the EU does have more clout than the UK on its own. On the other hand, the EU has had a lot of trouble negotiating deals because with 28 different members who all want something different, it's been hard to get agreement on exactly what the deal should be. And the EU has not got deals with China or the United States or India or Australia, and that shows that it is very tricky to get these deals together, even if you're a very, very big organisation.
Siemens is obviously a very significant investor, particularly in manufacturing in the UK. What will you do if we vote to leave? What will Siemens do?
Well, I've always said, and in the debate today, that to me this is not so much about the factories and the activities we have here today. They will largely continue, and we will serve the British market. Exporting from those factories will no doubt be a little bit more difficult. But the real issue here is what I'd like to do is to create more future investment, factories of the future. And that means you do R&D here in the UK, and those sorts of things are going to be harder when we are outside of a European Union. It's more likely that the research activities would be done in collaboration without Great Britain. And if you're not in at the beginning, then the chances of you having a factory of the future are pretty small.
But the Remain campaign paints a very doom-laden scenario for a post-Brexit UK. You're not saying that Siemens will leave the UK, are you? No,
that's what I'm saying. We won't leave the UK, but I don't see any upside, and I'm not in business to carry on running a status quo. We have been growing our workforce, our activity here in the UK consistently over the last 30 or 40 years, as a matter of fact longer than that. We've been employing thousands more people. We're recruiting 1,000 people in Hull here in the United Kingdom right now. And creating those sorts of investments are much easier as part of a European Union.
John, I know that you don't believe in the doomsday scenario if we vote to leave. Juergen says he sees no upsides. What for you are, say, one or two of the biggest upsides of us voting to leave?
Well, we pay less into the European Union. We pay in about £12 million a year, billion pounds net of what we, after taking all account of the money that comes back in. So, there are gains of that sort. But I think the really big issue is whether the British economy is going to be more likely to grow than if we're in the EU rather than outside. And I would have thought that Siemens' investment would depend very much on an assessment of that sort. And I think that if there are liberal policies pursued by a post-Brexit government, that the economy may well grow more rapidly than it would have done if we'd stayed in. The EU is not doing well economically, and shackling ourselves to the EU with slow growth isn't the best solution.
Thank you both very much indeed for speaking to the FT today.